Hello and welcome to this session brought to you by the Academy of Practical Accounts in conjunction with your institution. In this session, we'll look at the app, the features it has, and the facilities, and that's the objective. So we're going to look at the side menu. We'll look at the miscellaneous module, tax adjustments, year-end module, creditors module, debtors module, plus reports. So let's get straight to the device. Now, this is the side menu. The side menu, we've got the starting guide. The starting guide, basically, we've got guides classified in home menu, main menu, recording, multi-journal, single journal, and others. And when you click of those buttons, you get some guides. For example, let's look at the main menu. And then you look at the miscellaneous module. Okay, and then we click on the dashboard. Some brief explanation of what it is, its use, how it's utilized. Basically, that's what you find in the starting guides. Now, next, okay, below that, in the side menu, look at the main menu. The main menu is this one, really, basically this one. Now this one should go away. This one should go away. Let's turn off this internet actually. Yeah. Okay. All right. Now the next we'll look at in the side menu, we'll look at the main menu. The main menu is this one here. We've got miscellaneous, tax adjustments here, and creditors, debtors, and then reports. Okay. Now below that, we've got the business name and year. The feature for determining the business name and year. Below that, let's see, we have got a feature for setting the VAT rates. Then below that is setting the recording date, the chart of accounts structure, backup and restore, the profile, and then the logout button. Right, now let's get to miscellaneous. This is miscellaneous here. We've got a dashboard overview, cash register. Now, dashboard is an overview of the profit and of the business in general. There is a profit and loss account. It should be a profit and loss account. This is tax and income update. And then below here is a balance sheet. We shall look at these in more detail. Now, below that, let's see, there's a cash register which shows the money is coming in and going out of the business. This is a recording form for all the income. Below that is a recording form for all expenses. This is a form for recording deposits, form for recording money taken by the owner, a form for recording products taken by the owner from the business. This one is a 2-entry form. And then below that, we've got the multi-entry form. Now, with the multi-entry form, you must determine the number of rows that you require before it's actually generated. So we entered a number 4, and we have got 4 rows there. The number can go, the minimum number should be 2, and I'm not certain what the maximum is. It's quite elastic. Now, after the multi-entry form, we've got the chart of accounts modify. Now, this one is the chart of accounts whereby chart of accounts, of course, is the general ledger where we've got incomes, we've got expenses, we've got current assets, we've got fixed assets, we've got short-term and long-term liabilities. We have got about 290 accounts in here. So it's a feature we can use to modify the names of accounts. You click on number 12, it's an income account. You can modify the name by clicking that. And after that, we are supposed to click update. If you don't update, the name doesn't change. So I'm just going to click the cross button and the name will not change. Okay, so that is the chart of accounts. Now, to understand this chart of accounts, we shall need to look at the chart of accounts structure here. Now, this one requires the internet, and I've just turned off the internet on the phone. All right, we shall look at that anyway at a later stage. Now, this is a periodic tasks and reports checklist. Now, this one has got about 30 tasks. that can be performed in a particular period. And we are saying that for each task is accomplished, there is a tick to confirm, to notify the rest, even to remind yourself that the task has been done. And ideally, we are supposed to click the save button. If we don't click the save button, then we'll lose the ticks. And in addition to that, these are links to reports. P5 should be the general ledger. So when you click that, it takes us to the general ledger if there are any transactions in the general ledger. So it's both a list of tasks to be performed periodically and an access to various periodic reports. And then this mini year-end reports checklist, we've got about 40 reports here, which should be ready. When you click any of these buttons, the report should be generated on the screen if there are transactions. But now what we are working with doesn't have transactions. It doesn't have transactions. So these are still blank cells, just like you would receive it. We shall look at that a little bit later. We're just having a quick overview. And then below that, we've got the year-end reports checklist. Now this one has got about 80 reports here. And of course, there's a tick box on the right for every report that is accomplished. This is too much for a small business, which is using the app on a DIY basis, do it yourself, the non-accountant. We don't expect you to use this report because it's too much. This checklist should be utilized by those who are preparing accounts on a professional level for sizable businesses. So for the DIY, what we have for the DIY or the self-employed, what we have is the mini reports checklist that has got only 40 reports. And then, of course, finally here below, this is the transaction edit. Now, all the transactions recorded will be appearing here. They will be appearing below here. All right. Now, next to module 2, we've got module 3, where we've got forms for recording tax adjustments. Now, this one is from depreciation to capital allowances. These may not sound very familiar and we shouldn't spend a lot of time on them. However, after the end of the course, in case you need to make an adjustment, we provide online support regarding each of these forms. For example, God, these are balancing, these are disallowed expense reversals, these are capital allowances, this is depreciation. This is a strange field, and ideally we should support you when you want to use each of these forms, because depreciation is not straightforward here. Now let's see, this is depreciation. Some of you may be familiar with depreciation. But we are depreciating using capital allowances. So you'll not find the depreciation account on this list. You instead find capital allowances or tax allowances. Unfortunately, this is a little bit complicated. So if you need to use any of these, you need to seek our guidance and we shall address it exactly depending on the particular form you are inquiring about. Now, number 4 is year-end adjustments. Year-end adjustments, number 17 is for closing stock. Now, closing stock is actually covered in the course, but then it also depends on whether the business is using the cash accounting method or the traditional accounting method, which is also known as the accruals method. So these year-end forms will not be of much help, especially if the business is using the cash accounting method. If it's using the traditional accounting method, as we're going to see In the next few sessions, then we shall address them. Now, next to that, we have got the creditors module. We find forms for recording creditors transactions. Okay, an invoice, an overhead invoice, cost of sales invoice, trade creditor paid. This should be the form. We're going to look at them. And then adding a creditor. How do we add a creditor? How do we record a creditor's opening balance? And so on. Next to that is the debtors module. Forms for recording transactions regarding debtors. So this one is for a sales invoice. This one is for adding debtors, recording debtors, opening balances. We're going to look at that as well. And then finally, we'll look at the reports module. Now we've got period reports and year-end reports. Among the period reports, we're only going to look at the general ledger because for a non-accountant, we don't want to go into much detail. It doesn't help. It doesn't help. So we're only going to look at the general ledger as far as period reports are concerned. And maybe we shall look at reconciliation. Yes, we shall look at the monthly reconciliation. That's right. Otherwise, the mini reports belong to the year-end reports. Now here we've got about 80 reports. If you click this one, you see 4 reports inside there. Now these year-end reports are exactly what we find on this year-end reports checklist. Now here they are listed properly. Financial statements, you find 4 of them. You click a button and you access a report. Okay, they are about 80 reports. And as it was mentioned earlier on, these are a bit too much for a non-accountant who wants to learn simple, straightforward accounting. So we have got instead the mini year-end reports checklist. And this is what we shall focus on. We shall look at each of these 40 reports. We shall look at each of these 40 reports at the end. So that brings us to the end of this session where we had a quick overview of the app. In case of any questions, please, we are available to support you via Skype, number one. That's the main mode of support. And then, of course, email, we shall also be available. Thank you so much.